Okay, I think I'm live. Give me a second to connect. It's 9:04 a.m. 4 minutes late. I try not to be late, but one morning. Anyways, good morning. Whoever comes in here. Let's see if my little chat thing works here. Cool. If anyone comes in, let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. And that would be awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna, like I said, give it a couple minutes. If anybody comes in, and then I will get started. I don't really have a plan with this live stream. I just know that God's really calling me to start speaking again and prophesying. I hate using some of these words, these terms that have been around for so long, and there's stereotypes and stigmas attached sometimes. For instance, let me start this way. Hi, welcome to my channel. It's early for me. Anyways, my name is Jen. I go by Metronome. I have been doing YouTube videos for about 3 years. After I was called to start a channel and bring some truth to the table and expose corruption and injustices and deception, whether that be within conspiracies, whether that be within government corruption, whether that be personal experience with injustice or certain unusual, not so much anymore, really, but once upon a time, unusual really hard things, loss of child, loss of parent, things like that, as well as unusual and strange for honestly the early, and I have been under attack since that time, as far as I can go back in my memory. So these would be paranormal experiences, supernatural experiences, demonic, satanic, and then I guess what you could call frequencies, attachments, entities, spirits. So I have really, anyways, I was called, guided. It came to me in thought, in mind, in feeling, in visions, in dreams, downloads. I was just receiving all this information, and I started journaling everything, and I couldn't make sense, couldn't make heads or tails of any of it. Some of these words that were coming, I had never heard before, and I was given a very specific message of try to reach as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time. So that's what I've tried to do, and it was shown to me YouTube, which is a worldwide platform, and there is that rare chance that a video that someone makes could go viral or reach a lot of people. And if it is a video of any kind of substance or value or worth that is helpful or beneficial or educational or encouraging, then that's always a good thing. So I had this plan back in 2018 of how I was going to work my channel and what I would do and talk about, and what ended up happening, because the funny part about that is, they say when you make plans, God laughs. So it's like, hi Jess, happy rising. Thank you for stopping in. I lost my train of thought because I glanced over at the chat. So I had this plan of what my channel, which direction my channel was going to go, and it totally did not. It ended up being a journey of my day in, day out illness and the homeless thing and all these things going on. But looking back now, that was God's perfect plan in all of this, was to have it documented digitally, written, journaled. I have probably 30 some notebooks since then. And now if anyone were to open one of my journals and just skim or glance at the writings, it would look like the works of a madman. It would look like this chaotic mess of just gibberish. However, the longer I kept writing down these little intuitive messages I was receiving and getting these puzzle pieces and breadcrumbs, moving on to the next journal, the next month or the next year, and getting more information, going back to a previous journal and seeing how two things would match up and go together, and oh wow, that's involved with that, and it, connecting the dots. Binders. Yes. Oh, yes. Lifelong. And I stopped for a while, and that was to the detriment of me. I will say when I was a mom and boys were young and I was working, or life just, I stopped expressing myself in the only way I've ever been able to, freely. And I lost myself for so many years, just being that go-to for everyone, the mom, the partner, the employee, the housekeeper, the cook, the doctor's appointment scheduler, mom mode. And like Jen got lost somewhere in the shuffle. And so I digress again. But this is how my writings and my journals work. It's abstract random thought to random thought, and to any outside observer or listener, it would seem that I go from topic to topic and can't stay focused, and that sometimes happens a lot. Hence being one of the lifelong misdiagnosed ADD, ADHD, autistic kids who, got a bad rap. So, but really what it truly was having supernatural, paranormal experiences, being psychic, intuitive, empathic, and not comprehending how to deal with all of these things going on that I could see and sense and hear and feel, and no one else could. And like, am I insane? Like, I must be, because everyone else can't be all wrong, and I'm one, so I was like, lost belief in myself, love for myself, confidence, self-esteem. Always felt like a lifelong disappointment and failure, and rightly so with that a little bit. And I wanted to use this live stream to also tell you guys the God story that I want to share with you, which was the most profound experience of my entire life. And we all know Jen's had experiences, and this was the absolute there aren't words for it, but it is documented, journaled, and it was also witnessed because someone was there with me as it happened. And it was just the most special moment of my entire life, besides maybe my kids being born. I start, like, my heart starts beating, and I get a little shaky even when I revisit that moment that happened the other night. So I will get to that momentarily. I just wanted to say I have been a targeted individual my entire life for having a family bloodline history related to some things in history. Myself and who I am and why I'm here and where I come from. And when it's souls being incarnated or reincarnated through stargates on a cyclical samsara wheel over and over, they know when you're coming in, when a soul is going to be birthed, and the geographic coordinates and the zodiac information, because that is the map, guideline, map of the stars of your life and your destiny and who you are, as in your personality and character and integrity. Astrology has been demonized and ridiculed and labeled pseudoscience, or occult, evil, ritualistic magic, black magic. No good Christian or religious person who's righteous would dare go near. It's so very far from the truth. And I have the privilege and honor and appreciation that I'm able to study it, and it has become very deep seated and rooted part of my life now, because I found through it and other organic ways of healing, how to heal myself. And that required a miracle, number one, alone. Two, not having anyone in the physical as a mentor, guide, support system, partner, anything like that. Working with, like, making something out of nothing, literally all the time, having literally no income, and like having to innovate and create these tools and things that I need to practice and develop myself spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. There's so many things. So I have spent my entire life being very different in many ways, as we all are individuals. But my differences bordered on like the freakish, oddly different, noticeably different. So, which I embraced and always have, but others have not. And now, in retrospect and hindsight, and after all this healing that I have done and seeking truth and knowledge about myself and who I am, why I'm here, what's my purpose, what's the meaning of life, what does God let me understand, and then all these years of this can't be it. This, everything's wrong, and why? I have done so much seeking and research and study and prayer and meditation and shadow work and healing and trauma releasing and finding balance, learning how to love myself, which I never thought in a million years I would ever do that. Hi, B. Pink goo, exactly. Her pink goo. Oh, I'm going to share some of that pink goo right now, as a matter of fact, because I love it too. I'm mushing around in the pink goo right now. Can you feel it? Oh, wow. I am lucky and blessed. You know that, girls? Sheesh. Why y'all gotta do this to me? Trying to be all professional, and I'm gonna be tearing up now. So, now, in hindsight and retrospect, having lived 40 plus years here on this planet, I can see now, and it was finally revealed to me, that all of this suffering and these experiences and these lessons and these injustices were to exactly do what I was called to do, which was pick up my cross and bear it, take on the weight of the sins of the world by alleviating the suffering in others, hence being an empath, absorbing energy through your chakras like a sponge, but going your entire life never hearing the word chakra or never knowing what a chakra was. Meanwhile, immunosuppressed from birth, in an incubator when you're born, getting everything from scarlet fever to chicken pox down your throat to you name it, I've had it. But built up my immunity, obviously 4 decades later, where there's a global pandemic, multiple variants, yet, and I've been around crowds of people in shelters and on the streets and in contact with people. I am a smoker who has been stressed out for the last couple of years, and I have shared a few cigarettes with people and shared some of the good sacred herb, the ganja, with some people. Hugs along the way of other down and out people I met in my journey, and you don't care about the germ swapping when, you're meeting another mother out on the street who's homeless, who's not with her kids either, and she's crying her eyes out to you, a complete stranger, because you're always that go-to person when somebody needs advice, because I give the best, because that's what you're going to get from me, or I'm going to keep searching till I find it. And people know that, and I'm glad. That makes me feel good. But it'd be helpful all my life, especially my family, like if they would actually heed the advice that I give and not throw it in my face like, you're not always right. That is correct. I am not, because none of us are perfect. Least of all me. Woo! So, and with the whole genius thing as a child, I got like arrogance thrown in my face my whole life just because of the way that I speak. And sometimes if I go on about a particular subject, I can get technological, I can get scientific, I can get medical, I can get on a child's level and slang with like people I'd hang out with, like to make it understandable to the audience that's hearing me, which is what any good speaker, professor, translator of information, orator would do, make it stick, make it interesting so people pay attention, not fall asleep like I did in high school. I used to have this little pillow that I'd even bring with me so I could lay on my desk and go to sleep. So the arrogance thing, like, you think you're so smart because you always use big words and you think we can't understand them, and but like that never crossed my mind, and it's like I'm just trying to paint the most vivid picture to explain something in the best detail that I possibly can, as thoroughly as I can and vividly. So with that being said, my calling has been to preach the gospel. Again, words that I hate using because of the stereotypes and stigmas attached to them. I am not religious. I am spiritual. I have a connection with the Creator, God, divine intelligence, source, higher power, whatever. The all and the maker of all things, from which we all come from and to whom we all will return as one. I don't know how to explain it because God is unexplainable and unattainable in all the ways that I have sought, like since I was little, daydreaming, looking up at the sky, wondering what created God? Where did God come from? And isn't God lonely just by himself up there in the sky? Like, we're all down here on earth. Like, what's going on and what's happening? And then, like, space and what's beyond space, though, like what we can see. And people would always say, well, nothing. Well, no, nothing, because nothing is still something. And, well, it's just darkness. Well, exactly. Darkness is still something, and I could never get the answers. And, like, the autistic, whatever it is, side of me, maybe it is the, genius bordering on madness. Maybe that is the truth. There's a very fine line. There is. So maybe it is somewhat of a sanity issue. It is what it is. It's like, there's a band called Five Finger Death Punch. Lead singer Ivan Moody, he's like brother, love him. One of the metal bands like Slipknot or Korn or something that I love and listen to. Truth speaking band. And he says in lyrics of one song, it's like I'm holding all the aces, but I know I'll never win. And that's how I've felt my entire life. Like, why did I have to find out as a child that I was a genius if I was never meant to do something really big with it? Because when you hear that word, you think like Einstein, Tesla, and then look what they left behind for humanity and this planet. So I always had those same aspirations, and I was always held to that standard as well, especially by those closest to me, my family, my parents especially. A lot of pressure to excel and perform and be better, always better, perfect. And feeling like I never was good enough or a failure because I never achieved those great things, which I, in my own opinion, have, and they're named Stephen, Jonathan, and Benjamin. So there's my divine perfect gifts to humanity and this planet, is three fine young gentlemen. And yeah, I did that. So, and that's because of the way my parents were very hard on my sister and I, and strict and expectations. I did not put those pressures on my sons, and I very open-minded, and I don't punish, I discipline. I'm strict, firm, but gentle. I'm affectionate. My parents were not baby boomer era. I mean, I'm not in any way, shape, or form bad-mouthing my parents, and my mother passed away, so God rest her soul. My mom was my best friend, and I had to have, my dad's still alive, although you wouldn't know it, never talk. He's in Florida. But anyways, this is where the astrological information is so very profound and so important, and it's been so suppressed And this is partly why, to keep people down, to avoid a revolt or any exchange in power, or control being taken away. And so with people not having access to their astrological information, and numerological as well, it's equally as important. They didn't have this blueprint of their lives, so people didn't know, there are certain transits, planetary transits, let's say, when it is, you're encouraged to maybe buy stock or make a large purchase. Then there are other times when the planets are doing whatever, it's avoid large purchases, or you get your financial advice, your life path advice. And so people kind of had to go blindly, like, should I buy in, should I sell out, without that guidebook. So wrong. So I use these things on myself, and I've lifelong always experimented on myself. I am a lifelong behind the scenes scientist, some kind of physicist, probably theoretical, honestly, but in my little lair of my bedroom lab of after the kids would go to bed, or when I was alone, and when I was a kid, I enjoyed studying. It's fun for me, and like going to the library and doing extra book work was like enjoyable for me, and still is. So that is what I lust after in this lifetime, is learning and knowledge and wisdom. So I got a lot of that throughout this spiritual journey I've been on. After being activated, awakened in 2018, I would like to talk about that year in a video as well. I have not talked about it in all this time because, again, being who I am and what I've gone through in my life, I have had such a deep, horrific, traumatizing fear of abandonment from being alone. So when I started this channel and I started meeting all of you guys, and just that connection was immediately, undeniably present. We all know, all of us are in this circle. We traverse the same channels and see each other in the chat rooms, and we're on that same wavelength, and we click, I hate that term, but that's what it is, we vibe with each other, we get each other, connect. And I've never had that in my life. And then I'm like, of course, when I do, it's got to be like virtual. It can't be like physical, in my presence. So it's like, oh, of course, but I'll take it. So I wasn't going to tell some of the worst and oddest things about me and risk losing any of you who now I placed on this, like, when I say my loved ones and closest to me, some more than even blood-related family members of mine, I mean that with every fiber of my being. And one of the biggest things I learned about myself was that, yes, I love unconditionally, and I always have. And that is what has hurt me and traumatized me the most in my life, was my autism thing, or whatever it is, causes the outbursts and behaviors and fidgets and all the weird things and miscommunication. And it's so eloquent and perfect up here, and it's one giant scientifically proven, lucid, factual thought process in full. And when it comes out of my mouth, it's like, and people run away screaming. And I'm like, yeah, I did it again. Because I'm like, I usually come on because I try to cram so much in such a short amount of time as best as I can, because I know with anyone, that's all I've got with them is these little bursts, and I better pack it in or I'm going to miss the chance. So then, people are always this direction for me, one way or another. And fine, I'll take that. I'm probably the heart. Oh, I couldn't imagine myself all my life to be around. Like, I just mess. Okay. So learning that, yes, my whole life I've loved unconditionally, which means there are no limits. There are no endings. There are no boundaries. There are no conditions. There are no rules. So all, let's say, the ex-boyfriends that I've had in my life, whom I loved, cared about, that never went away. And I still love them to this day. And I always will, whether even they abused me or cheated on me or left me or did, whatever. I don't have the capability within me. It does not exist within me to make it any other way. So when everyone else in my life, especially those closest to me, parents, siblings, are keeping me at arm's length or out of sight, out of mind, or ostracizing me or punishing me or whatever, that is putting a conditional limit to how far their love will go for me. I don't think I need to say any more on that. And proving it, because you wake up every day alone and the phone doesn't really ring or anything. So that was a real tough pill to swallow for a long time. And I couldn't. That jagged little pill, I couldn't swallow it. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Well, then God's like, look at the world around you right now today. The chaos, the corruption, the distortion, the manipulation, the mutation, artificial taking over organic, the feuds and wars and up in arms races of people. Do you see any unconditional love in this world? That's like a parent, Jennifer. And I'm like, yeah, no. Where do you think you got that from? Any ideas? Like the divine creator, unconditional lover, bestowing a gift like that. And I couldn't see the forest for the trees my entire life. I'm of God? I come from... No. I literally have spent my life in hell, tormented by demonic influences and artificial intelligent frequencies and agents and spies and people in my life, some very close to me, come to find out who were part of that plan as well. Never meant a thing. Just part of the game. A lot of shit to try to handle and swallow. Now, this God moment that I had the other night was the most meaningful and profound moment. I literally fell on my knees crying and sobbing because there weren't any words to express the awe and the magnitude of the confirmation there wasn't a shadow of a doubt that this wasn't a message straight from the source's mouth. How do you like that one? I just wrote a little after it happened because I couldn't even write. I had to process it. So September, I gotta do this. 12th, okay. 12:11 a.m. Well, I just had the most profound, surreal, and emotional scriptural message and prophetic revelation, as well as multiple confirmations to all the questions I've been begging God for answers to for so long. I was, and still am, completely mind blown. I was mostly in Isaiah, but some prayers were from Ruth and 1 Samuel. What was happening is I was receiving this message from God, Creator, Source, Spirit, and I was told to use my big old fat, I gotta go this way, Jerusalem 800-pound Bible, flipping through, and I was going backwards, and I'm like, okay, am I doing this right? I'm like, I'm going this way? Okay. And then boom, I would get it, start reading there. And I was to do it out loud. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain that in a minute. So Isaiah is very meaningful to me. Isaiah 41 is my favorite chapter out of the entire Bible. 41:10, actually. 1 Samuel, my son that I lost when I was 16 due to the mandated abortion I was forced to have as a minor, I named him Samuel. Samuel was a prophet in the Bible. He saw visions and got revelations from Spirit about events and things to come that hadn't happened yet. And a lot of what happens for the prophet, again, a word, stereotype and stigma attached that I don't really care for, prophet, referring to myself as a prophet, having foreknowledge, seeing things that haven't occurred yet. There's a reason for that too. A lot of it is to foretell of coming destruction or breakdowns or revolutions or very ginormous changes in the structures or ways of the world, or to signal destruction, i.e. the flood, i.e. resets globally, i.e. cyclical samsara wheel over and over of reincarnation and wiping memory, reincarnate, die, wipe your memory. We'll get into that some other time. All my life, I've spent 1 foot in this physical realm and 1 foot in a very non-physical realm. And when you're a little child and these things are happening to you, 2, 3, 4 years old, in the middle of the night, dreams, night terrors, entities, and then you share a room with your sister and she's confirming everything that you're experiencing. So from a very young age, the both of you aren't insane. So nobody else believes you, though. Again, those closest to you, usually. So I get a lot of my messages, downloads, visions, intuitions from books, scripture. And that doesn't mean just the canonized Bible, King James Version, 66 books of the Bible. No, I studied Nag Hammadi texts. I started studying world religions right out of high school because I was raised Roman Catholic my entire life until I was a teenager. And I went to a Christian private school run by a Southern Baptist church. So I had religion shoved down my throat, and I still had more questions than answers ever. And nobody, whether priest or teacher or deacon or nobody, could answer them. So I've gone on a lifelong mission to find the answers that I needed to know for me, myself, and I to be okay. And that remained the same. What is God? Why am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What is life about? Love, meaning, space, all these things. Now, my God moment, it was revealed to me that everything was done just so that there would be triple layer proof of everything digitally, journaled, maybe removable discs here and there, physical people, witnesses along the way. There's always a way that somehow something was documented about something I've gone through and experienced, so nobody could say like, oh, I don't know, let's make up a hypothetical fake story that one day the internet goes down or something happens to YouTube and all videos disappear. And I can no longer now prove that I said in 2018 what was going to occur in 2020. But yet, many people in the world who watched them or who know me now know that to be a fact and true. These types of things, it's very important to stand in integrity and to use your words carefully, choose them wisely, because the tiniest little Freudian slip could be detrimental to a soul, let's say. Words are sounds, vibrations, frequencies. Words are formed by putting little symbols called letters together to make one larger sound. Spelling, that's why it's called spelling, because when you speak, you are either blessing or cursing by using your words. And that's how powerful words are, especially when they are spoken into existence. That's magic, as is writing, and why they call it the joining of letters cursive. There's no hidden agenda meaning behind that. That's why. These things you don't find out until you start studying, occult philosophy and walk a mystic spiritual path. So I take things from all angles, like a scientific standpoint, a philosophical, a proven someone who's had experience with it, someone's testimony about it, what's been, taught about it. I group everything together plus my own research, and now I have explored multiple quantum theories and come to the best conclusion that I can feel confident about being accurate about. So I've withheld sharing some of the freakiest, weirdest stuff about me because I didn't want to lose you guys. And my fear of abandonment thing is currently being healed. I've been asking to know the truth of myself, why I'm here, what my purpose is, and I love to study and learn everything. There's nothing I don't love to study and learn. That's my lust, my passion in this life. So I couldn't choose. I kept, what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to be teaching or doing or studying? Because I love it all. So I can't narrow it down. I'm not the narrow it down type of gal. So I'm the overachiever. That wasn't happening. And then my God moment was exactly shown to me that it's not been angel or spirit or deity or lowercase g, gods and goddesses, or ancestors that have been my guardian spirit, guardian angel, protector throughout this walk of life. It's God. And if anyone were me, they would know exactly why that makes absolute and total perfect sense. Because there's no logic or reason that I should even be alive today, much less healed and healing, much less better on the inside than I've ever felt in my entire life, but being at my lowest I've ever been in my entire life. Wearing a smile, feeling for the first time, 40 plus, what the word confidence actually means and feels like, because for the first time ever I get to experience a little smidge of that right now. I didn't even break a sweat for this live, so that's a good sign. That's progress, which I'll accept gratefully. God's like, the enemies that you've had, really? And like, I get the worst of the worst of the worst of the, like, there could be the criminals, and then you've got like the violent criminals. That's who I get. Like the archdemons and the satans and the principalities and darker forces who seek destruction, corruption, rule, and violence and cruelty. So it's pretty much like, did you really think you'd even be standing at this point? Like, little old speck of you, human, like, against like the Antichrist, or, well, I guess I can name them now, but some of my adversaries have been Asmodeus, the demon of lust, Um, there has been an attachment, a lustful sexual attachment from very early in my life, which was an obsession on their part. It caused some very traumatic violations to me when I was little, usually when I'd be sleeping, and then for the rest of my life. And this is why, just as in the story of Raguel's daughter being married 7 times and each of her husbands dying on their wedding night, he was attached the same way and murdered them so they could not consummate their marriage because he was insanely jealous out of his obsessive infatuation for her or me or anyone else. Deities, gods, goddesses, beings, entities, angels, demons, mythological creatures, spirits, elementals, creatures, beasts, can exist in multiple forms simultaneously at the same time. For instance, the demonic entity that I just spoke of could have aspects of himself present in multiple beings across multiple realms of existence, if that makes any kind of sense. I know it's very profound, but that's what it is. I don't know a better way to explain it with the words that I have. So I basically have been begging God as of late to either drastically change my life for the better or take me out because I am so exhausted and tired and done. And like, I could go and be all right, not with myself really, because I don't feel like I've accomplished what I'm capable of accomplishing, so that I would hold. But as far as I'm comfortable with what I've let go, what's been forgiven and healed within me and done as far as redemption and deliverance within me. When your spirit is healthy and purified, that will translate in the physical. It's like they say, as above, so below, or on earth as it is in heaven, making things in the macro appear here in the micro, and vice versa. So when people who are suffering depression, anxiety, suicide, addictions, behavioral problems, obsessions, uncontrollable lusts or actions on them, inability to control oneself sexually, let's say, or physically, violently, being psychopathic, having a disorder of the mind, which, let's say someone who is cruel to animals or children finds enjoyment in that. That is a disorder, a disease of the mind. And usually these are caused by the attack on the spirit of the individual, because the spirit is what is given from God or the creator or source. If there were not spirit existing within you, this human body would just be a lump, Raggedy Ann doll that couldn't move, couldn't talk, couldn't think, couldn't feel, couldn't act. It would be a lifeless shell. The spirit from the Creator, from God, is what gives that driving force to propel you to open your mouth and speak, or when you're nervous, take the chance, or get up and move your legs so you can walk, or all day while we're all doing other things, our lungs keep breathing, our eyes keep blinking, our mouths stay wet with saliva, our cells are healing and transforming, skin is shedding, hair's growing, digestive systems digesting lunch. All these things going on in this miraculous machine called the human body, which was created to heal itself, and it does, and regenerate, and it does. I think all of us could say we've had a cut or a blister or some wound on our skin that was open and bleeding, and yet within a matter of days, new skin has grown and it's not bleeding anymore. There's the proof. So, why others choose to take these divine spiritual gifts from God, who created us and gave these gifts to us, and then gave us a world and a universal life to experience, to come here and be able to touch things and smell things and see things and hear noises and sounds and taste things and experience pleasure and create and procreate and explore and invent and discover and play and love. And by taking one's spirit, then that is the easy way to go behind the scenes if someone were an enemy trying to attack and diminish you or weaken you or lessen you in power, go after you in spirit where you can't see, can't feel, can't perceive that that's even going on. Some can, I can, but some can't. And then they've already knocked you down so far. Usually when the spirit has become so sick, it's when the spirit gives in, gives up, releases from the body. Death. mostly suicide these days, or overdose. Anyways, so I didn't give God an ultimatum like change my life, God, or kill me. Like I wasn't like ignorant like that or anything. I was like, please drastically change my life for the better, because there's nothing worth living for. Or take me so that I can rest. Like it would be a merciful thing for me. And that's what I've been for quite some time now, past few months at least, praying for. And I got the message from God, witnessed by my friend, sitting right there, hearing the scripture I was reading aloud, hearing me sob through it because I could barely get the words out of my mouth. God is confirming in every single passage that I was told to read the message that the changes are coming. And read through the book of Isaiah, read through 1 Samuel, read the prayer in the book of Ruth. Moses' prayer. I was guided to all these things. And then to other scripture confirming for me that the time has come. The Spirit is upon me now. Yes, I've been called. Yes, chosen. Yes, selected. Yes, anointed. Whatever you want to call that. Again, terms with stereotypes and stigmas that cause a lot of that. So I don't like to use them. Yes. Hi, disorderly fashion. Soul sickness. And so many have actually had their souls severed, split. Male, female. That's why the divine female, divine male, twin flame, soulmate journey is so profoundly important to so many people. Because in other realms of existence, there is it's androgyny. There's not a male or female penis, vagina to procreate, to make children, because that's not the necessity there to procreate. So the whole copulation process is unnecessary. So each being possesses the male and female aspect of wholeness within them each. And that's one of the agendas going on here on this planet right now currently, is the eugenics and transhumanism, trying to take away the fertility of the millennial generations Y and Z, so that they are unable to have children, becoming sterile. It's a depopulation agenda. I have really struggled with being called to do this, because most every message I've gotten, as well as the prophet, is of destruction of some sort coming, and volcanoes and the solar flares, and then these portals and Armageddon, and just so many things going on. like I said, I one foot in this world and one foot in another, and trying to balance and navigate and try to maintain some semblance of sanity for myself. It's been a struggle for me my life long. Anymore, it's just at the point of, all right, 9/11, 2012, we had Benghazi during the Clinton time. Fast forward to 2001, on 9/11, New York, Twin Towers, weapons of mass destruction, and what's his face, the guy in the cave that they made up, Osama bin Laden, the terrorist, being part of the Taliban. You know, they always put a guy in a turban on the wanted poster. That's during the Bush regime. Fast forward again to 2021, 9/11, and we've got the Afghanistan Taliban takeover. I think coup going on, but who knows? And the way that the current president of the Corporation of America has responded has been shameful, to say the least. And it's at a point where it's so ridiculous, and I actually prayed for the man, and I personally, at a character level, can't stand him. And I prayed for the man because it's becoming so sad that I felt pity for how ashamed just the mockery, and I was like, God, take him out. Just do something with this, because it's a joke. And then you've got Mr. Trump on 9/11 making his appearances and giving great speech to the people, which I happened to notice at the very end closed with, and I quote, "We will make America great again." Like that. In my personal opinion, well, I received the message in 2018 or 2019 that Mr. Trump would be the very last president in this country. My visions have not been wrong. They aren't wrong. And I know that that is not incorrect either. Because if anyone considers the last election fair and good to go and everything's okay with that, you need to seek psychiatric treatment. In my opinion, if not simply to get a puppet in that would be easy to take out or shame in some way a weaker person, especially in character and integrity, they can get them out of the way. The ruling powers of this world currently, the dark forces, controllers and owners and destroyers and corruptors. And that would get Kamala in, and it would be the first female black president. She's married to a Jewish white guy with an interracial child or children. I don't know. I don't get into these people's personal business, but it's just, it fits such the storyline so perfectly. Or the true nature of the evil of both political parties, Republican and Democrat, is going to be exposed and disclosed. And when people finally receive the truth about how deep and dark that swamp gets, that cabal gets, those demon rats get, there's a reason those things are said, and it's true. It's because it does. Yet the Republicans and their financial backing, support and sponsorship, and tycoon resources of the world speak volumes for them as well. It's the lesser of two evils when comparing the two. Hence why I chose not to partake in the 2020 presidential election. I did not cast a ballot to vote because I was not choosing the lesser of two evils. I will only choose if there is a leader who I believe in, and that didn't exist. So, except in myself, but no one took my bid seriously for your girl to become POTUS. Anyways, so with the mandates going on regarding COVID and the vaccines, I know what I have researched. I know what my eyes have laid upon and saw online in my countless hours of research into this and how it fits in with scriptural prophecy as far as the book of Revelation being considered the mark of the beast, the pandemic, COVID, SARS, Sophia, disease, virus, which was bioengineered in a lab in China, in Wuhan, China. Yet people who are very powerful, such as Mr. Bill Gates, had or has an affiliation with that lab, was said on the patent website, was said to be the patent holder for the coronavirus, has been a very strong vocal supporter of the vaccines. Yet he is or was CEO of a technology company dealing with computers. On what grounds stands his medical licensure or degrees or knowledge or education to where he should be giving any medical advice at all if he's not licensed to only hold the patent for a pandemic? I do believe that Morgellons illness and related illnesses to that are the true, real, silent pandemic. I do believe that a lot of deaths that have occurred Like I said, you could go swimming in the ocean and get mauled by a great white shark, go to the hospital through surgery and have your leg attached, and die on the operating table, and they'll mark it COVID just to fudge the numbers. Now, do I have proof of that in evidence? No. It's an educated guess based on probability calculation. So, I know what I suffered through last year with that abomination. And at one point, I literally felt these fibers wrapping around my lungs, squeezing them like an elephant was sitting on my chest. I had these lines in my skin, on my throat. You could see the constriction pulling my skin red, and there was no denying. There were people around me that could clearly see these things, these lesions, these fibers flying around and embedding in. Feeling it wrap around my heart, and my heart race and palpitate. And this was last April. So lockdowns were happening. I had no phone service, no TV, no radio, no internet. Alone in the toxic house I was in, getting evicted from during a pandemic, dying. Nobody gives a shit. So when I felt that wrap around, I literally braced myself at that moment, and I was on the couch, I remember, and I prayed. I said, okay, God, I'm ready to go. I felt so 99.9% I was about to die. I thought these fiber strings are going to constrict my heart, and it's just going to stop beating, and then I'm just going to go. So I did my last, I'm ready. And I must have passed out or fell asleep. But I woke up in the morning, alive. I've worn this scar since 2011, 15 stitches when I took a serrated blade and cut myself because my ex was taking my kids from me. And that's how I reacted. Because I am a Capricorn sun, I am a Pisces moon, and I am a Cancer rising. And those who know about astrology will very clearly understand how home and family and loved ones are of the utmost importance to someone like me, who loves unconditionally and requires, not needs, not wants, not hopes to have, requires that her loved ones be around. So, when I started learning these very intimate details about myself, getting farther and farther into the astrology part of it, then I was like, okay, I know I'm being guided to do something with astrology, counseling, energy healing, clearing. I'm getting that. Like, I see that, casting out demons, exercising, removing attachments, cords, There's so much talk that people get the wrong idea about what it actually is, that people like me do. And that's been the problem, is let's say these homeless shelters that I've been at, living on everybody else's schedule and, times, and I don't, because I can't. If something happens in the ethereal and it's on the fly and you're called to metaphysical duty at that, you drop everything and you just do it because it's necessary. So I'd be in these places and there's people packed in these dorms and shared kitchen space, and I'm like, how am I supposed to channel and do these things and be calling out, speaking out, casting out things, and explain to these people that I can't go walk around town for 30 hours a week job hunting so you can have my form filled out. I have a job because it was not looked at as a serious thing. But it's more serious than any job on this planet. Any job at a workplace on this planet, in this world, for the beast system corporation, umbrella corporation, banking capital, Switzerland, Swiss Alps, where all the elite vacay, Geneva, Switzerland, where the underground CERN lab is, particle hadron colliders, popping open portals to other dimensions. And oh yes, please people, when we hear the terms portals, dimensions, alternate realities, please trust and believe that they very much do exist. As there are different dimensions in the fabric and space of time, that translates to be levels, realms of existence, worlds, realities. It's very real, and that's just a scientific, you could prove that scientifically in physics alone. So, splitting souls, reincarnating, looping souls on this never-ending loop of reincarnation to continue to just be a blind slave and work for the system over and over and over till you're used up and discarded. Never getting to ascend and get out of hell. Earth has ascended from a third dimension, very dense, very solid, very heavy reality, into 4D, which is the fourth dimension. Now, the fourth dimension is one higher than the third dimension, which means it is not as dense or solid as a rock, or it's more translucent, spirit, supernatural. This would be the astral spiritual realm, 4D, where creatures and monsters and entities and ghosts reside. Humans and animals and stones and plants exist on the physical, temporal plane of existence. 3. Climb up 1 to 4, less dense, spirit, think misty, see-through, like that. So that is why most people, they say, well, when you get attacked at night, it's usually in your dreams, like people that have night terrors or night paralysis. And that's true, because that's when your consciousness is traveling in the astral ethereal realms of existence and is prone to attack by beings that are at a better advantage because they are not limited by a human capacity. They are able to have powers and abilities that exceed a human's, because it's in another realm where the laws of physics there allow that. However, now that Earth is ascending and is into the fourth dimension, those who have been, whether biologically induced into society, called anointed, chosen, or harnessed their own abilities by their own path of spiritual development, we all, me, you, we all exist interdimensionally as a multidimensional being simultaneously. So it's as if you lived here in the 4D now, formerly 3D. You have a higher self version of you that's much more advanced, living, let's say, in 8D, up there somewhere. And then you've still got a really lower aspect of you that's like really dark and dense and creepy, and that's like 2D down there. All at the same time. So while you're here in this world living your life, you got that one there, and I'm just painting a picture of an example. There are multiple, and that's just a very general example, but I hope it just gave you an idea. So if your higher you has something happen there, it is going to translate here. And then whatever happens here is going to translate down to the 2D aspect. Well, there's been a shift there in power, which has been like this in favor of dark forces, and it has gone this in favor of light forces. I don't even like using that term, dark and light, good and evil, angel, demon, whatever. Those who choose destruction and corruption and deception versus those who choose peace and love and progression. So there's a battle. There's a battle. And it's come to a point now where everything dark, evil, corrupt, broken, failing, not really real because it isn't true, is falling, and it's collapsing, and it's breaking down, and it will be destroyed. Because only by destroying the old can you clear a space to bring in the new. And that's what's coming in. And that was part of God's message to me too, is that who do you think you've had fighting on your side this entire time? Like, you know, you could have had Archangel Michael, which I do, but, you know, or Jesus, let's say, as your spirit guide, protector, guardian, angel, whatever. Awesome. You're going to be very protected, and you're going to be very successful in staying alive and all that. because your guides are very powerful. Now, what if that's God himself? It's like, who's going to come again? Who's going to step to you? Come on. So that's basically the message that I got. And that gave me such a boost of confidence that I've never felt in my entire life. And I was like, so you're telling me this entire time that not only did I get my ability to love unconditionally from you, obviously, but like you took this long to reveal that to me. Thanks. And then not only that, but you, and I freaking, like, I knew something. I just knew there's like no way could I still be alive throughout the attacks, the targeting. Years ago, probably about toxic metal and a retainer on my teeth, seizures in 2018, where I cracked my head on the concrete and got a head injury in the back. I had an ex who was somewhat, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. He was a narcissist, and he, in the heat of an argument, told me he hated me as he proceeded to headbutt me and gave me a head injury here, pineal, pituitary, and occipital as well. When I had my 3 seizures that week, I convulsed and seized, and I bit my tongue where the side of it was split in half like a serpent's tongue, literally. And my ex was there at the time, and he just said, you were walking and you just fell out, seized for like no more than 30 seconds, and then you got right back up and started walking again. It was like, he was like, it's the weirdest thing. And while that was happening, I had an out-of-body experience from above, looking down at myself on the sidewalk. I saw my ex doing compressions on my chest, and there was another guy walking with us because we were going to a pizza restaurant, and he was like I saw him flipping out. I saw all this as I was seizing, but from above, having an out-of-body experience. I was dying. My soul and spirit were leaving my body. And that same year, 2018, I do feel like those seizures were a targeted attack on me, like it's frequency reboot 3 times in 1 week. Come on. Because here's the weird story. Hope everybody's ready. Thank you for anybody who's been hanging around and listening. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry I've not checked in with the chat. Like, if I start reading chats, I can't stay on topic, and then I really wanted to get as much of this out as I possibly could in this live and kind of break the ice with everything and just demolish hell like it is, you know. So I had an extraterrestrial, possibly, or government agent, possibly, or galactic medical team staff in a craft, possibility. Experience in 2018 as well. Okay, so I had the seizure in the summertime. There were 3 seizures in the summertime. I believe it was July, in 1 week. That I believe was an attack. That's what I feel with every fiber of my being, intuitively. August, I had this experience with these beings. All I know is I was staying with someone who was, it is what it is, and it was what it was. So, a little bit of a type of sugar daddy thing, because, again, when you're at the mercy of not having anywhere or anyone or anything, and what can you do? Sometimes you're backed into a corner, so you gotta make it work. Or at least I thought I did, or whatever. That's what it was at the time. Older gentleman. And I, was taken care of for a while. And that was all right with me for a while. So his property was very wooded, and it was 2-story, and there was there were wooden steps and a wooden deck on the 2nd story. So you could go in the front door on the 1st floor, or you could go up the wooden steps to the 2nd floor deck and go in the 2nd floor entrance. Okay. So we were upstairs. I was in my bedroom. He was in the den area. It was late. I was working on something back there, writing. 3 o'clock in the morning exactly. I get up and I walk to the door on the 2nd floor. I go out onto the deck and I proceed to go down the wooden steps. And that is where I lose my memory. That was 3 a.m. Now, when I walked out to the deck, I passed the gentleman in the den, so he saw me walk out, but didn't question anything. Wasn't like a girlfriend, boyfriend, where you go, and it's like, I lived there, so I could come and go as I please. And then all that happens next is I wake up in a panic. And all I notice right away is it's pitch black dark around me, and I'm freezing. And I'm shivering, and I'm like, oh, why am I cold? And I'm feeling that I'm like damp. Why am I wet? Why am I cold? Then I'm feeling around because I can't see, and I can't really focus. And I'm like, it's a tree and grass. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm out in the woods. And then I started to panic because I couldn't see anything. And I thought, where am I? What happened to me? Like, all this panic starts coming. And it all starts flooding back. Okay, what happened? I remember walking off the porch, and that's it. And then all of a sudden in the distance, I see this bright light. Now, at the gentleman's house that I was staying at, he had a floodlight shining in the driveway on the ground floor. So when you parked in the back, you could see where your vehicle was. And I knew that light, and I was like, oh my God, that's it. Okay, I got to get there. That's all. And I could see the light through the darkness. And I was like, I just got to get there. I was about 100 yards into the woods. Freezing. It's pitch black. I'm terrified. Like, what? I'm like trying to, every horror movie I ever saw like came flying back to my mind. I was like, what is going on? I haul ass up the wooden stairs. I get back to the house. I'm like so thankful that that's where I was and that the light was on, and I got back. I go up to the 2nd floor door. The door is shut. I'm like knocking on the door. He answers the door, all panicked. What happened to you last night? Where did you go? Oh my God. And he sees I'm shivering and he's like, get in here. What's going on? And oh my God. And he grabs a towel or a blanket or something, puts it around me. He's like, I'm running a hot bath for you. And he goes, what happened? And he's going, I couldn't even talk. I just started crying because I didn't know. So I couldn't say anything. I said, all I remember is walking out, and then that's it. Waking up under a tree. Three hours I was out under that tree, or so I assume. Well, come to find out throughout multiple revisits to that experience to try to figure it out, both consciously and in meditation, and asking, please, what happened? I came to see that it was some sort of medical craft that got me aboard. And all I know is that I have been on an operating table a few times in my life and had surgeries, and the lights are so bright you can't open your eyes. And I remember that blinding light, and I couldn't open my eyes, and that I was on some sort of table, like laying, because I saw these hands above me going like this. Psychic surgery, that's what it was, but I didn't know that at the time. I just saw somebody doing something above me instead of scalpel cutting into me, but rewiring it. Like, that's what it looked like. And a very deep bass, like it was as if I was in a light and frequency healing craft. That's what I picked up on. So obviously my seizures and all the certain 3 a.m. and come back at 6 a.m. and in the conditions that I did. Oh, but only I experienced what I did when I went through these things. So I can only share what I know to be true for me. But it's been difficult keeping these things to myself, and fear of abandonment, of losing anyone. Like, I'm not associating with that freak anymore, and running away. Or, thinking that I'm just some whack job Looney Tunes who's crazy and like discounts what I say to be true as actually being true. So God confirmed that changes would be coming, and yes, the tides have turned, and it's just a matter of time. So that I needed to get back on here and start doing this again, and not running away from it or procrastinating or hesitating due to anxiety, because now I know why I went through what I went through, was to be able to have the authority by experience to be able to speak about it instead of speaking about something I have no idea about because I've never been through it. That's why it was training. I'm like, So I guess I'm going to cut this one. I tend to kind of ramble on because I don't get very many opportunities to express myself with others. So It's like, for me, it's like Christmas, and I don't ever want it to stop once it gets started. I can talk about everything, anything you want. My advice is boycott the system of a down, the beast system. Really, really rage against the machine. If our government is going to mandate vaccine requirements for employees of corporations, quit. It's a leap of faith. It's scary. Believe me, I know. I've done it. I've walked away from the corporate, bureaucratic, political, corrupt circus sideshow run by clowns and puppets and actors and actresses and clones and holograms. So I was shown also a little something about who I am and who I translate to by sharing these soul spirit aspects with certain beings from history, as we all do in some way, shape, or form, possess these aspects of archetypes. And what I'm seeing is making a lot of sense to me, because I always wondered why I was so heavily attacked if I'm just this nothing, no one, nameless, faceless, homeless, penniless nothing. Who am I that anyone should even care or waste their time? Well, maybe I'm not as insignificant in other places as I always have been here. And I hope for my sake that's true. I hope for everyone's sake that is true, honestly, because I do, like, I always put others first. I always try to be helpful. I always try to stand in integrity, even if people don't like something I do or agree with it. I'm honest, and I'm like true to myself. So if I had a position of, like, let's say leadership or power or ability, standing to be able to make decisions and be a leader in some capacity, I'd be a really, really, really good one. So, you never know. Maybe 2024 will be my year. That would be hilarious, but it would be amazing. And I'd be like that whip cracking Capricorn, like, mom that I am, of like, oh, no. We're going to get this done first, and then you can go play with your friends, all right? But we're going to clean up the shit first. Like, I can't stand hearing them talk about elections and Mr. Biden talking about his hairy legs and Mr. Trump talking about everything he accomplished during his administration. Ha 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 ha. I would get in there and be like, less talking, more working. Let's go. Just start getting shit done that needed to get done because it needs to get done. And make beneficial changes and like restore peace and freedom and liberty and the pursuit of happiness and sovereignty. All I'd have to do is like have someone corrupt or with some intent to manipulate or deceive or something like that, and give them the mom look. Like, I dare you to lie and look in my eyes and disrespect me by lying to my face or thinking you're going to pull one over on me. The look. So, Alex, I know. That's what I was talking about. And thank you for coming. Bless you. Appreciate that. I was saying that I got some great confirmation the other night of change coming to my life finally for good. And it's going to be a game changer because I've been begging and praying and asking and for months now, God, change my life drastically for the better or take me out. Like, I'm ready. I'm okay. I'm tired. So I got my answer and it's never what I expected in a million years. And I am motivated more now and optimistic, even amidst the current chaos and upcoming destruction and certain things that are occurring and will continue to. It's so worth it to never give up and to hold faith and be that good person and not turn from that. Not ever let them break you or change you. Because if you can outlast and overcome and survive and conquer all that and keep faith and stand in integrity and still be a kind, helpful, honest person it's not for nothing. And my act of faith, leap of faith, was to express this before I have actually received any of the rewards and blessings coming into my life and opportunity and goodness. So I had to come on here yesterday, today, speak all this, tell all these intimate, private on the faith that God is faithful and what was spoken to me is coming true for me. So if it doesn't, then I disprove myself and I guess God. But if it does, everyone will have the proof because they've seen my 3 years. Plus I've documented every step of the way. Plus random people here and there have seen and heard and witnessed. It's like, I don't need to prove myself anymore. Not that I ever did, but I spent my life doing that. Justifying myself, explaining myself, proving myself, trying to teach others why and how, and then that's why this. Nobody cares or listens. It's just a futile effort, and then there's nobody around at the end of the day anyways. So I have some great healing going on within me. I am turning that into a work that I can serve and help others now that I have experimented on myself and proven it to work. Living proof, an actual hair, and getting there. Toning, losing, firming, working out, doing yoga, eating better again, meditation, prayer, releasing traumas, regression therapy, and calling back my lost light and lost soul fragments. It has been some hard ass work. Wow. But if I have hope in what I think I have hope in coming now, I would do it all over again every second, every miserable Groundhog Day over and over and over. That's how confident I'm getting, and I'm offering these now because I believe in myself, because I've proven myself to myself. I know my abilities, and I know what I do is good work and helpful. So I'm offering astronumerology reports. They're just a general overview. All that's needed is date of birth. For donation only, whether that is financial through my PayPal, whether that is an energy gift, whether that is a product or service that you offer and want to trade, I'm open. Whether you're down and out and suffering or needing healing and don't have anything to offer except a thank you, come see me. I'm not that person that's out for money. I need to survive and sustain my life, but other than that, I just want to be comfortable like anybody else and have my needs met. My needs. And that is a home of my own with an environment that is conducive to my research, work, art, and study. I need it to be inspiring and motivational, not deplorable or shared or, I need a vehicle. It's not realistic to try in this area to be a pedestrian everywhere you have to go. It's a little unrealistic. Then some sort of income. And this is the start of my teeny tiny little business of myself. And I'm offering readings, sessions, energy clearing sessions, counseling, intuitive guidance, composition of a hymn, prayer, spell, or charm, charged. And I figure we'll start with a few things like that, and then maybe those who know me and or who have received any guidance or help from me would do me the honor of supporting me in my work and rating my service or skills and sharing my work around word of mouth, And that's about it. I'm just going to keep doing my YouTube thing. At least I can connect this way for now. Working on myself and working on being a better example of someone who truly, truly does care about others and wants to help heal humanity and this planet. And who's a mom and a grandma, so she's not giving up anytime soon. Nope. Okay, so I love you guys very much. Love you, Alex. And yeah, I'm still learning the live stream and tripping over my words sometimes and nervous all the time, but I hope you guys know why I do this and know that I'm going to be able to help a lot more than I have been, just simply because I won't have to be all focused on my suffering of everything. So, and you guys have helped me. So much encouragement, support, and love, and just feedback and honesty, and never any mockery or belittling or hatred or cruelty. It's always out of love, and it's like, this is my family. So if it wasn't for each and every one of you exactly being who you are and being to me who you are, I wouldn't be able to have this moment right now. One tiny thing were out of place. Love you very much. Probably see you. Oh, it's 11:11. Look at that. 11:11. Make a wish. I know mine. Rock this planet. Rock these people into healing, change, prosperity, goodness, happiness. Shall not be like the former things. I love you more. Keep safe, everyone. God bless. And I send my love and protection and healing and blessings of truth and peace to you. Peace. Love you guys.